How about that Sonic Fox? Mortal Kombat Evo champion. And
It's a lot better than I am at Mortal Kombat.
he's a lot better at you than a lot of ways.
Plays a mean Skullgirls, too.
He does. Wow. I'm very impressed by Sonic Fox and his proclivities.
I like his hat.
Is that what you like to call him?
PPMD also there. Made the finals, upper bracket finals. Did not make the finals.
Made third place.
Third place in Smash Melee. So good for him, if you like that kind of thing. But we're not here to talk about Smash or Mortal Kombat or Sonic Fox or PPMD. We're here to talk about League of Legends. That's the show. That's what we do. Speaking of League of Legends, you know what? No time to waste. Steven Broken Water Main.
That's me.
Keith, the unknown Factor Mitchell. And the one and the only Bianca Danielle.
Hey there.
Without further ado, did you know that Team Impulse played Team Solo Mid?
Yes, I do.
Oh, my. Did
and
they?
they happened to win the game against Team Solomid.
Team Impulse did.
Team Impulse did.
They can't both win. We have a play from that, actually.
Well, everyone's a winner, really.
No delay. I want to get right into the play.
Not
The
everyone.
meat of the show. I want to see a play
plays.
from Tip TSM
LCS big
on the
plays.
screen. Overlay, big. Here it is. Please, Keith.
Yeah, so what happened here was that TSM made some pretty terrible decisions in positioning, and they're playing a global comp, but right before this clip happened, they overextended top lane into a 2v4 situation while their Shen had to teleport mid lane to save Bjergsen, which meant that they have...
Wait, here we go.
There we go.
Playing-
Yeah.
playing it
So
back from the start.
Bjergsen gets a little bit messed up. Shen comes in,
almost
and so then they
100-0.
decide to dive, but they forget the TIP has the peel. They have Janna, in fact, and so after that, things just get really awkward.
And they've already used Shen ult mid.
Yeah,
So they can't use Shen ult top here.
So Team
Pretty
Impulse
awkward.
gets 4 free kills without even really trying because there wasn't a whole lot of thought put into that play. Like, they didn't time anything. They didn't feel like there was much communication. It just sort of happened.
They just
And-
came top.
Well, they were like, okay, well, we're going to dive now because we have Annie ult without
Well, I mean-
realizing that there is an enemy team that can also make moves.
I mean, Team Impulse just came top. That's all I had to do.
Oh, no, yeah.
yeah.
They
Disengage and go top.
didn't
You
even
get-
really
you get
do
a
that
full
because
kill.
Maokai teleported.
They were
That's
like,
right.
You didn't have to walk.
they were like, oh, there's 2 people mid. That means we can make a play top. Except they realized that like this game is filled with like teleport, and also there was a turret there.
Global
and,
meta,
like-
yeah. Like,
Yeah, the actual map.
Oh,
of
and
the
they had
game.
just burned their Shen ult mid lane to
Right.
Bjergsen, who almost got 100 to 0.
and Shen actually teleported in after the entire debacle started.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that didn't really
he-
change a whole lot.
He ults mid and then TP's back top, right?
Yeah,
Unfortunate.
it seemed
It's
very.
not a good look for
No.
It
TSM.
felt like Impulse was able to take it to the scramble, and so they won off of that.
How about that Team Impulse, by the way?
Yeah,
7 wins in
they're
a row
looking
now, I
they're looking
believe.
hot.
Wow.
Pretty good. What has changed for them, by the way? Because 7 wins is a lot in a row. After 4 and 5, a bad start.
You know what made some wins for them? It's Adrian, probably.
What makes
Rest
you say
in
that?
pieces.
What happened to Adrian, by the way?
Oh, Adrian, there's a lot of spooky stuff going on there.
By the way, I love the decision to move Adrian out before you play TDK.
Yeah.
Like, let's guarantee ourselves a win with a new
And
lineup.
did you see
Okay,
that? Like,
yeah, let's
that
not-
troll, terrible TDK versus Impulse game where Xiao Zhao backs first item Magi Soul Stealer on Oriana at like 7 minutes.
No respect.
There's just absolutely no respect for TDK.
But
Do you remember whenever we thought with Emperor and Ninja they might actually win a few games?
I was hyping them up because they did pretty well versus Dignitas, but they really
Then we discovered.
Yeah, then
it
we
was-
realized
they
that-
seem
that-
like they seem like they're not willing
That
to
doesn't
put in
mean much.
It was a mirage.
They seem like they're not willing to put in effort. I'll
Although,
put it that way.
as though I'm sure we'll talk about
They
later.
don't have a whole lot of
We will,
morale.
yes.
Dignitas.
TSM.
Dignitas had a big win this weekend, but we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves here in multiple ways.
That's,
Can we-
that's coming up.
Can we
Coming
take
up.
a second to just acknowledge the fact that TIP has made a terrible decision by getting rid of Adrian? And that they clearly got rid of him and he did not step down of his own volition?
Yeah, that was a little bit.
Okay, he literally retweeted like a million tweets about like, oh wow, really? You're the best like support. Why would they ever bench you? Like right after he
Yeah.
posted his like his little, oh, I just don't feel confident in myself. And then he turns around and is like, oh guys, look, everyone thinks I'm good. Bet you regret this.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, that
RNG
was-
Adrian, I believe.
And
Not a good look for
handcuff,
them.
by the way, he also had to play not to his personal style that he had. He
That's
talked about
right.
wanting to be more aggressive and kind of play his own play to his own abilities, and he kind of had to sit back instead because you got to let Zhao Zhao and Rush go ham. You can't be going ham in the bottom lane too.
In the end, it doesn't matter how good you are in the NALCS if you don't speak Korean.
Yes, what it matters is how Rush and Impact
That's
think
why
of
you got
you.
benched.
Phew.
Shots fired.
Yeah.
I'm just. That's not even a shot fired. That is absolutely what TIP is telling us.
I think it's funny because, North America has gone through their import the European stage, and then they've that stage is over now.
Oh
and
no,
it's
we
just
need to take a step
straight
up
to
and
Korea.
import the Koreans.
Straight to Korea. If China wins this World Championship, are we
Oh,
gonna
no,
start?
we're going there, yeah.
We're gonna start just importing Chinese.
Import
players.
whatever works.
It's America. We're a melting
Or
pot.
we can pull a
Exactly.
TDK and import a Brazilian Korean.
You know what
That's
we
like
need
one
actually?
extra
What the
level.
NALCS needs is one full Chinese team. Would that be great? They'd probably win Worlds if we had a Chinese team in North American LCS.
I think we should get a full Korean team. Maybe they could get picked up by a
We're
That was it.
sponsor like.
3/5 of the way there.
That was the LMQ joke, by the way.
I'm making a joke as well
Okay.
about what Orbit. What I don't even remember their sponsor anymore. Locodoco's team
I don't remember either.
back when they who was it? It was like Locodoco, Apple. That was a fun moment.
Was it?
What is it crushed dreams and broken spirits?
They
and-
were
My
so
God.
irrelevant that I don't even remember them.
Wait, really? You guys don't remember this?
No.
Only vaguely, which speaks a lot to the success
No,
level.
they Locodoco and 4 other Koreans came over. This was the split before the LMQ team and tried to qualify through the Challenger League, and then they got to the Challenger qualifier and they just lost in the tournament and they didn't move up. And then right after, so there was it was a 2-day tournament, and after day 1, Loco's team was Team Orbit. I'm almost positive was 2-0 or 3-0, and Locodoco posted this selfie of himself, and it was crushed spirits and broken dreams. And then the next day they went 0-3 and didn't qualify, and for 2 weeks everyone on Twitter would post a selfie of themselves and just say crushed spirits and broken dreams. I don't remember what the exact quote was, but it was pretty
Your
great.
history lesson from Stephen
that
Brokenwater,
totally
Maine,
happened.
here today.
Yeah.
A league
And then
history lesson for you.
Locodoco became the coach for Alliance, and then Locodoco became the coach for TSM.
And now we are today in the
With
current
TSM.
day with
Losing.
TSM doing TSM
Imagine if
things.
Locodoco was a player
not
in
doing
NALCS right now
things.
and not a TSM coach.
TSM, who lost to Team Impulse as part of TIP's 7-game win streak. TSM, I just feel like it's hardly worth talking about them anymore because they're doing TSM things until playoffs, basically.
There's nothing to analyze. They're not
Yeah.
playing the game. They're just. we're
They're
gonna
just
sit around,
showing up.
See what happens.
It's if you watch TSM play, you're going to see some pretty good players play League of Legends and pick some picks that aren't necessarily meta. They don't necessarily have a good comp and just kind of do things, and they'll probably win if it's a bad team. If it's a good team, they'll probably lose, and then playoffs start in another week.
I thought that was going to be the Copenhagen Wolves strategy, but it seems that TSM took it. TSM's just here so they don't
You know
get
what
fined.
the interesting thing is right now? The teams that look the best, in my opinion, are okay, obviously Impulse looks the best right now. They're on a 7-game win streak. I think CLG had a strong week this week. And then besides that, the next 2 teams, if you were to do a true power ranking, which is the current status, right now, not don't consider anything else. If every team was to play whoever right now, 2 of the teams that are in the discussion are Team 8 and Cloud9, actually, which is ironic because they're at the bottom of the standings. But in terms of playing teams at the top close, I mean, Gravity's looked bad recently. TSM's looked bad recently. CLG had their little thing, but they've seemed to maybe recover. Team Liquid hasn't looked good recently. Dignitas has not looked good recently. All of the teams that started out
Gravity
and
with
playing
the
way
single-
overachieving have now
What sticks out to
sunk
me
down.
actually is the teams who need to play well are playing well. The teams who don't really give a shit, like TSM for example, are just doing whatever.
I mean,
to
that's
get
what I
by.
figured. Is we're right before playoffs, and it's just there's this point where it's we don't believe that we're going to change our standings too much. We might as well,
But that's a
No, but that's
a
it's-
stupid thing to
I'm
say
not,
because
I'm not denying it's stupid. That's a very stupid mentality because both LCSs are incredibly close. But I don't think you can explain TSM's current performance by saying, they're trying their best, but it isn't working.
Well, TSM is the only team that I can maybe give a pass to because I think there's 0 chance that TSM doesn't qualify for Worlds straight up. Any team besides TSM should have 0 excuse because TSM knows they're going to Worlds. They won the first split. They're going to do fine this split. So they're going to qualify automatically on points, almost guaranteed, right? Especially because the second place team for last split was Cloud9. So it's very hard for anyone to challenge TSM in terms of
There's
points.
a gap. There's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
gap
exactly.
there.
So like TSM is the only team I can excuse. But like Gravity, like they didn't get any points first split. Impulse, they got fourth last split. Team Liquid, they need points this split. It's like the last thing you want to do is be in that gauntlet. You know what I mean? Or like be lower in the rankings. Like that's the interesting thing about the gauntlet is like if you're third place, you only have to play one best of 5 series,
But
and
here's
then
the
you're
thing.
into Worlds. If you're in 6, you have to play 3 sets to try to go to
Here's
Worlds.
the thing, though, is that what you're saying right now is an accurate,
logical.
well-informed idea of how the playoffs would work. But when you have Team Liquid, they placed mediocre last split, and so they can come into it and saying, okay, we're going to do well this split because, the teams that are below us we've beaten consistently, and the teams above us aren't looking so good recently. So we can probably get away with, we can probably get away with slacking a little bit. That's not logical, and that definitely isn't a great way to, secure your spot in Worlds, but it's something I feel like might happen.
Yeah, but like TSM could have like sealed up a spot in, the top 2, or they could have made a very good shot. Like if you're in top 2, you get a free bye in the first round, right?
Yeah.
Like not only does that mean you have one less best of 5 to play to like try to win, but like that guarantees that you have at worst 4th place.
Well, there's no reason
which is
not to, but
significant
people are
more
doing
points.
it anyway. That's my point.
But like TSM like is screwing themselves by losing to teams like Team 8. And like any team that loses to Team 8 at this point is like, dude, what are you doing?
Well, you're also
Like,
giving psychological momentum to the teams you lose against, and that's never a good thing.
We won't go too far down the hyperbole road here. Can't really break down and analyze too much of this stuff. So we'll get back to the actual analysis. You mentioned Cloud9 as a team that you think is playing well as of late. We have some clips of Cloud9. In fact, they played Enemy and CLG this past weekend. They beat Enemy.
Yes, I think we have the enemy clip first.
They
right?
needed to beat Enemy, actually. That was a very important game for them to win.
Extremely
To
important.
avoid relegation.
Speaking of teams that will run the gauntlet, by the way, if Cloud9 gets 7th, they're
We're
going to
gonna
run the
look at this
gauntlet.
first. This is
Okay,
Cloud9
so Cloud9 versus Enemy. So I believe this was your clip, right?
Yeah. Well, there's not a whole lot going on here, except that I didn't really agree that C9 played well this game. You see Lemonation getting caught out and then Balls teleporting in, trying to save him, and then they get Wombo comboed, but Sneaky comes in and just happens to have a bunch of damage and ends up killing Body Drop and Flares. But I don't know, Incarnation, everyone was on the Incarnation hype train after this, and it's like, I don't feel like he did a whole lot, except played a mid-game Ahri with decent ability, like Flash W. That's not... In my mind, I don't see that as stellar gameplay. And then Lemon gets caught out in the tri-bush around 4 people. If he had made a single mistake, this would easily have been a lost fight for C9. And he has been making a lot of mistakes on Braum that he's been able to get away with because, Braum is technically unkillable. So you have I didn't consider this game to be here's a turning point where Cloud9's starting to really play better. It's more along the lines of the counter throws we're used to seeing in EU with the middle bottom card teams that are kind of too apprehensive and worried about making it in, and so they end up making these jerky errors that are oh, I have to win right now or otherwise we're gonna lose. They seem really on edge, and I'm not sure I like that.
The
for them.
Elements and SKs of the world.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
C9's playing more like Elements than ever with
That's not a good thing.
It's funny
About
because
anyone.
the teams usually be compared when they were Alliance and Cloud9. They've kind of come back together in a new and
they're
different
sister
way.
teams across the pond.
Yeah, now they both are just bad together.
Bianca, back me up on this one.
What's up?
You were impressed by Cloud9 this week, right?
I don't know. Honestly, despite everything going on, I still feel like they have a decent shot for 7th place, as odd as that sounds. I mean, there's only 2 games left. They are probably going to lose to TSM, but I mean, Team
Well, the
Liquid
way
has,
TSM's been looking, I'm not even sure about that anymore.
They have to.
but-
They have to pass up. They have to do one better than teammate.
Well,
Exactly, and Teammate
Cloud9
has 2 really tough games coming up.
Cloud9
so that
has
being
like
said,
what,
High's
TDK
back.
this week or something?
I think they have TDK
Yeah.
and TSM.
Yeah, so and
Two
then
teams
and
that are looking
team
very
8 is
beatable.
playing. Yeah, Team 8 is playing Team Liquid and
someone else.
yeah. So
CLG.
yeah. So Team 8 definitely doesn't have an easy
Exactly.
week.
So I think Cloud9 has a pretty good shot despite everything going on.
Well,
They have
it's going
high
to come
bat,
down
good
to
standings.
a tiebreaker then.
Yeah.
Right? Between, assuming all things go as we think, Cloud9 beats TDK and then everyone else loses everything else. which that being said, is a statement, right? I think it's very possible
That could be
Team
disputed,
8
yeah.
or C9 upset someone this week.
The way things have been looking, there have been not a lot of things have gone according to the rankings recently.
Yeah.
It's
Well-
hard for me to imagine in the current state Cloud9 beating TSM. Even if TSM's just playing their kind of like get through it strategy, I just don't see Cloud9 as a team really having much to say to TSM
But
right
even
now.
if they
I
don't
think
beat
if
TSM,
TSM's
they're
gonna
still
show
going
up-
to beat TDK.
If TSM's going to show
Yeah.
up for one game until the end of the end of the split, it's going to be this because they want to keep down C9 as much
Yeah,
as
because
possible.
they have Enemy on Saturday, they have Cloud9 on Sunday.
Thinking strategically, here's the guy who has the second most points after you, and if you have any chance to get him
but
into relegations,
No, TSM is guaranteed going to have more points than Cloud9 though, because Cloud9 can't go to playoffs, and TSM
Right.
already has more points than them. So
I don't
there's
think it's
zero
about. I
chance.
just think it's about the matchup. I mean, I think Bjergsen will have his way with Incarnation. I don't think there's any way.
oh
that,
yeah,
Just have his
Incarnation
way.
has
Okay,
been
okay.
Incarnation has been being like he's been moving towards more and more offensive champs, and I do like the more he's been able to go back to his playmaking style recently. There was
Yeah,
there was
wait,
that week and a half.
Hold on. I think we have a clip for that. We have a clip.
Do we have a clip?
Incarnation playing 2v1 mid lane. Can we get
Can
this
we
on the
roll
screen,
it?
please?
Yeah, there was a week and a half of.
Oh, look at that.
Whoa.
What was that?
Whoa.
Oh, you think Incarnation is being more aggressive? Because I thought Incarnation played really well this week. Here, Pobelter flashed on Incarnation. Any other week, Incarnation runs away. Right here, instead he turns, he has his confidence, he
went
kills
man
Pobelter,
mode.
he
Oh.
puts
What that was
more damage on Xmithy. No, this is the thing though. The thing that we didn't like about Incarnation at the beginning of the season, it wasn't that he was playing bad. It's just he was playing scared.
Not just the
He
beginning.
was afraid to play. Oh yeah,
Also
yeah,
the
yeah.
middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
He
also
was
picking.
afraid to make plays, and here we see him, Incarnation, making plays. Incarnation dominated Pobelter early in the laning phase of that game. Incarnation was the reason that C9 had such a big lead that they did. Now,
what happened?
The carnation has blossomed.
now what
I don't-
happened
Very good.
was,
Okay.
and I
Excellent.
believe we have another clip.
Another
Do
clip?
we?
I think we do.
We might.
Mate.
Well,
if-
regardless of
no,
whether or not we
yeah.
have
Have
a
another
clip,
What
I-
ended up happening was CLG actually played well in a team fight. What? Here we go. We got this.
Okay, let's see.
Here we
this.
go. All right, so what ends up happening here is Xmithy plays with the brain, okay? He does a great ult, knocks everyone away from Incarnation. Incarnation does get caught out a little bit, but then you see a great follow-up Janna ult, and if you look, the carries are on the top, the tank is on the bottom right, and the support is on the bottom left. They've completely separated C9, and this is honestly just a brilliantly executed team fight by CLG. Like, at the end of the day, I don't think that this is a C9 misplay. I think that this is just CLG doing a good job. Incarnation's not super out of position, but
I'm not saying that
but
Incarnation's
Xmithy-
playing poorly, but I'm saying Incarnation's not like.
Oh, look at this
A
Janna
lot-
ult. Oh my god, it's so good.
I heard people saying that Incarnation is now the second best mid laner in NA, and
Oh, okay.
I disagree with that.
That's big talk.
All
not
I'm saying
sure.
is that the hype train ran strong after these last two games, and I'm not willing to put him there yet, especially since one of them was on an Orianna against an aggressive mid laner who tried to make stupid poor time plays on him.
I mean,
No, we're not gonna get to see
in Incarnation's defense though, that's supposed to be a winning lane for Azir,
Right.
into Orianna, and that was not. I mean,
Well, you can misplay any lane.
Yeah, doesn't
regardless
matter.
of-
Yeah, I
Doesn't
know.
matter if you have the advantage
No,
if you
but-
do bad
Yeah.
things.
But Incarnation won that lane. He was aggressive. He put the pressure on. He tried to all in Pobelter at level 2, which is like the one scenario that Orianna has to win that lane matchup. He didn't go in saying, "Oh, I'm gonna lose this free." He said, "I'm gonna play."
No, absolutely, he
And
played well,
He
but
played
he was
well.
not.
Not the second
don't.
best
No.
mid
It
in
wasn't even
NA.
that. It wasn't even that. I don't believe that he was the factor that won. C9 versus
Okay, what won
enemy,
them
or,
the
or that got them so close to C9 versus CLG. I think that it's a lot more of a team game still than people are making it out.
No, absolutely, and
Yeah.
like the map rotations and that sort of
ain't
like
TSM yet.
that kind of play was the thing that they were lacking
Right.
before,
Plus,
right?
Incarnation winning a lane is only a big deal because he's played like such
Yeah,
shit
yeah.
for most of the
Definitely,
split, okay?
definitely. Yeah,
He
yeah.
won a lane.
It's like Incarnation.
Wow.
He
not-
played well for one game.
He
and his team
does.
still
He
lost.
does
Yes.
well in a 1-11 scenario against a champion. That is like the fact that that's mind blowing to me. It shocks me because like at the beginning of the split, like this is the guy who was like I know Incarnation, like I keep up with this guy. He's toxic, yes, but he's good. And then we saw so much trepidation throughout the entire LCS, and it feels like I think we won't get a good judge of his play until next split if they keep it in. So I'm I really want C9 to stay in here.
Yeah, so the reason why I think it's a big deal is because it's not just that his play has improved, but it seems to me like his mindset has changed. So like the reason why we felt he was doing so poorly early on in the season, into the middle of the season, is because he was playing so tentatively. He was playing scared. It's like he cared about his KDA more than he actually cared about winning.
He was
It
playing
like
a contradictory
It
play
was like
style.
a very solo queue style. It's like his team would lose. I looked at the stats. His team would lose, and like he had less than he had like half of a death more per game than Faker did in the LCK.
Right.
And if you're paying attention to that scene at all, SKT just wipes the other teams all the time, like just dominates them. And like their team wins all the time, but like he barely had more deaths per game than Faker did because he was just playing passively. And it's like, it may look like that's a good stat, like, oh yeah, you know, he barely even dies, but it's like, no, he just wasn't doing anything. He just wasn't making an impact.
Well, he played a contradictory style of like someone who was trying to make plays and be an offensive mid laner, but then he didn't feel like he had that capability. But he refused to pick the defensive champs because that's not what C9 wanted.
Yeah.
And so as a result, he wasn't able to meld into his own playstyle. He wasn't able to meld into C9's playstyle. He wasn't able to really find a playstyle, and so he was just kind of stuck there, sitting around on the edge of team fights, getting one-shotted by Hecarims.
We talk a lot about Incarnation on Cloud9. Bianca, who else on Cloud9 needs to step up, do you think, on this current Cloud9 roster? Beyond our Incarnation. Obviously, Incarnation needs to do a lot. You got Sneaky Elimination. Balls is kind of a non-factor at times. I guess they do have a jungler. What's his name again?
Goodbye or something?
Is it
Oh, come
Xmithy?
on.
Medios?
Say, who's that? Who's
No,
that
I think
DS
it's a
game
Medios.
where the blocks fall? Is it Medios?
Is it, I don't know, Dade? Is that who? Wolf?
I think it's
Okay,
Hyde.
not so much who needs to step up, but I'm really wondering what's going to happen with them and High next season.
That's a good
true.
question.
Or even into like the
Like,
the
not
gauntlet.
necessarily like who needs to do better, but what are they going to do with their team in general? High doesn't want to unretire permanently. That being said, are they going to just put him back in a coaching analyst kind of position? Who's going to be their new jungler? Are they going to be moving people around?
Well, I do think the discussion about Incarnation is a little bit too much right now. He's not played quite so well that he should be considered a top 2 mid laner in any region, not even Brazil or Turkey, much less in North America. I do think he has shown tendencies that can
Not
better
even Brazil?
translate to next split, perhaps.
And I
think
will tell you who
you,
else
You
on-
see from Incarnation some hints that he could be a productive mid laner next split, which is great. They need to see that. Cloud9 desperately needed to see that
But
before
the
the
thing
split
is,
was
I
over.
think what Cloud9 really needs is a shot caller.
Which they have in High. Maybe they need an in-game coach.
But
like
are
need
they
a-
going to have
they need
that
to
forever is the
Penguin
question.
style.
change Riot's rules, allow in-game coaching, like the guy stalking behind them with the team
Yeah,
of with
yeah.
the
It's the
referee.
They
perfect
have it
plan.
in CS:GO now, right?
Yeah.
That's like there's a team in CS:GO now who that's like legitimately their strategy. They don't have a shot caller. In Counter Strike, the coach is allowed to like look at all of the players' screens and like coach during it. And like they were playing really bad. They were like pretty much. I mean, they weren't a no-name team. They were full of like really well-known players, but they were playing like a no-name team. And then they decided, hey, you know, we're gonna not have a shot caller. We're gonna let our coach shot call for us, not a player. It's like a very new idea. It's experimented with some, but they're like, this is our strategy. And they decided it the night before. The next day, they beat one of the better teams in the world, 16 rounds to 0. So
So
what
maybe
you're
that's
saying
what
is
we
that
need to do.
what you're saying is that C9 Charlie for jungle,
Yes,
I believe.
exactly.
yes,
And Jack for support.
the young Will Hartman will.
I'm
be
saying
replaced.
Cloud9 Tempest should swap rosters with Cloud9, basically.
Perfect.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, they already
Well,
seem to
they've
be, they seem to
already
be a
done
step
that,
ahead
right?
of you.
yeah, we'll see about that. So, I don't know. I mean, I think Sneaky is obviously a good piece to have there. Incarnation, you've done all this work. You can't give up on it now because he's shown some flashes. You can't just move on from Incarnation at this point. So you have the two of them. I guess you keep Balls. I don't know who you put in there in his place. Then you have the jungle situation. Medios is still under contract. You can bring him back if you want to, but I mean, at this point, is that a good idea? Elimination is just like his passive is being out of position, basically. That's just what you can count on him to do.
To be fair though, I really enjoyed his Braum play. Like he made a bunch of positional errors, but Braum
Braum's
even
a
more
good
so.
pick if you're gonna make
Even
positional
more so
errors.
than Nautilus. Braum is so good at not giving a shit about being out of position.
Which is a good thing for elimination.
All your abilities exist for you to not care about
I remember
being out of
the
position.
spring split final between Cloud9 and TSM, and I remember elimination was badly out of position in some of those games, and it was like, wow, this is a big factor in why they lost. And now it's just like, that's how he plays.
Now it's just what you expect.
Yes, it's just how the mighty have fallen for Cloud. How Cloud9 has fallen actually to have
Get
this
to play
conversation.
to your strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I really have no idea what to expect from this team in the offseason. I really have no clue. I
More
think
Braum and Nautilus.
Sneaky will be there. I think Balls will be there. I think Incarnation will be there. The jungle and support roles, I have no idea.
I think we'll
think-
see High replaced for someone else. I think that Lemon will probably stay on, and I hope that they'll just like whenever Balls tries to lock in anything that is not Rumble while it's open, they'll just swat him with a newspaper.
But
until
should
he
Lemon
does.
stay on?
I'm not saying that like
Nope.
I
High is gonna replace Lemonation.
I think
It's
when
gonna
we're-
happen.
I think when we're talking about like support talent in North America, if you want to keep the apple pie as apple as possible without adding, I mean, there's already the EU nugget in the middle of it, but like we're trying to pretend that's not there. Like if you want to keep the apple pie as possible, there's not a whole lot of North American supports that can like beat out Lemonation.
Incarnation also trying to pretend it's not there.
That's true.
Yeah, trying to pretend he's not in the team for most of the split. So well done by Incarnation with his
C9 Adrian.
sneaky
Hey.
play. Hey. Not a bad idea, honestly.
Honestly,
C9 RNG. There's so many teams that I would love to
Plus,
see Adrian on as long as he's somewhere.
Sneaky is an potentially aggressive ADC who likes to just go for it at times. Put Adrian with him who likes to play aggressive styles and was held back in Team Impulse actually from doing that at times. I think it's a good potential pairing. Why not?
They can have Adrian Sneaky up against TSM's Lust Boy Wild Turtle and see who
Adrian
flashes forward
does not
hardest.
have to speak Korean on Cloud9.
That's true.
So he could be good to go. You're not going to get kicked from that team.
yeah. I mean, I think the thing with C9 though is like, how are they going to ever live without High? Like, how will they exist without High?
Designate
Can
a
they
new shot
ever
caller.
exist without High?
They should just
I would
all
like to
dye
point
their hair
out-
blue in his honor.
I would like to point out that Adrian, just making more of a case here, Adrian was trying to be the shot caller for the team, and the reason he's being replaced was, again, could not speak Korean, so he could not tell his shot calling like strategies to Zhao
Just
Zhao.
ping really hard.
Right, yeah.
Xiao Xiao's not Korean though.
Chinese.
Xiao's
Zhao Zhao's
Chinese.
Chinese. That's right.
Racist.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's
Shut up,
All
Erica.
the same.
Well,
Keith?
no, because Impact is Korean.
well, it's
So
impact.
that's why I'm so confused. Why it's important
Wait, no,
that
that
he's
makes. But then,
Korean.
wait, no, then their public announcement makes no sense because.
Yeah, like
Oh
only.
God, was I an idiot or is Team Impulse?
Well, Rush is Korean.
I know, yeah, but like.
And
So
Impact.
Rush and Impact, and
Is
then
communication
I don't
between
know
Rush
what
and
I don't know what
Adrian-
Apollo is. I don't know what he speaks.
I think Impact and Rush were the ones who had communication problems with Adrian specifically. So I think
Okay,
that's
that's
something
probably-
because they both
yeah.
speak
Like-
Korean.
Well,
I
how
thought
the
it-
hell are Xiao Xiao and
I thought it was with mid
what?
lane.
Have you heard Xiao Xiao's English? Like, they're not communicating in English. That's
Have
all I'm
you
gonna
heard
say.
his Korean?
No, I haven't. Maybe his Korean is much better than his
Neither have I.
English.
So
Can't be
CLG,
much worse.
But pings are the universal language.
they are
Well, apparently Adrian doesn't speak Spanish.
not smart enough pings.
Doesn't. He's like, man, which one is I'm
If
on my
Team-
way and which
if
one
Team
is
Impulse pinged
MIA?
more, they wouldn't need to trade out supports.
Counter Logic Gaming. For many weeks, we bemoaned their struggles. They had a better week, much better week. They beat
I always
Cloud9,
believed.
beat Team Liquid. Yeah, I know.
We
very
heard.
much so. What changed, Steven, for this team between a really poor stretch and now having, I think, 4 in a row? Isn't it? 4 wins in a row?
It is indeed 4 in a row.
What changed exactly?
Um,
After with the big Gen ults.
Yeah, so a few things changed. One of the things that changed is they started playing better, so that's good. Their
How?
team fighting, actually, as we saw in that clip, they actually acted like each one of them had their own individual brain, and so Xmithy made a good decision for himself and had a good Gragas ult.
And he
And
learned I won't even say he learned how to play Gragas because he knows how to play Gragas, but the dude never was allowed to play Gragas, and now they took off the weights, and so now he's operating at full
Oh,
capacity.
quick tangent. I think Gragas is one of those champions who now has become so common in the meta that you don't even have to play him well. You just pick him, and so we've seen a lot of shitty Gragas play in the past few
Well,
weeks.
that's I hate Gragas more and more the more I see in the
Gragas.
LCS, but Xmithy really he was on ball. Even in the team fight clip we showed, he had a decent ult that I would use more than decent because it basically locked the rest of the enemy team out of the team fight and let them get to the mid lane.
actually a great ult.
His body slams, I think he got away from death twice throughout the game by just body slamming through walls, and his escapes were on point. His initiation was great, and it felt like he knew how to play a champion in League of Legends.
Imagine if his Sejuani had great ults too.
Oh my god.
Wow.
You know,
Probably does.
CLG.
They haven't authorized it yet.
CLG might have like not been in relegation several splits in a row,
Wow.
or
Ouch.
or
That's the
maybe,
dream.
Maybe would have
the
have
dream.
more than 10 circuit points.
The golden age, avoid relegation multiple times.
7th place,
God.
baby. Lucky
Yeah.
number.
Oh,
We've come a long way.
I think a lot of it was their objective control, though. I mean, in their game against Team Liquid got like, what, 3 towers, and CLG had everything else.
It's a pretty good team fight, team game.
yeah, and,
Rotations.
and they just seem to like better understand their win conditions and like actually play to their win conditions.
Yeah.
So like when they lose, they don't understand what their team composition should be trying to do.
I mean, when they lose, they don't feel like a team. They feel like, it's that thing where it's just like, we're going to be good players and hopefully we'll win. And like, it feels more recently like they've been working together.
And that
They've
makes
been able
sense.
to communicate.
That makes sense given the issues we know this team has had in
Yeah.
the past.
Although
We were made very clear
will
the
say
issues
that-
the team has had in the past.
18 pages of
18
issues.
pages of
18
issues.
pages.
Yes.
I will say that Zion Spartans play the last few weeks has been, I don't know. Like, we're talking about them playing really well as a team, but I feel like Zion has been, like, on his own island, just, like, doing his own thing recently, which, like, has been okay. I mean, he played Fizz a few times and, like, got strong and was a big part of why they won, but I really don't understand his Kennen pick at all in the game against C9.
I just miss his Ngarn Rumble.
Yeah, well, I mean, he picked Kennen in a team that had Gragas and Janna, which are like 2 teams that are wanting to disperse the enemies and spread them out as much as possible. And he plays Kennen, who's like an AoE teamfight mage. And that Kennen pick
Well,
was crap,
theoretically-
by the way. Like, it didn't do anything. It
Maybe
was
they want
like,
those Gragas ults to put them in inbounds, or like use the flash Gianna to ult them back into the fight.
Yeah, the Gragas and Janna ults, well known for their ability to cluster a team together
Yes.
and really force
So
them into
that
team fights.
engage Gragas and
The
Gianna.
initiation
yeah,
Yeah.
and
from the Flash Janna
So-
ults.
it's like,
the new
it's
meta.
working right now, but it's something that worries me.
There are definitely still problems. Like it's nowhere near the Cinderella story of now they're the perfect team that works together.
And
And
also-
playoffs is coming up.
Well,
they
the
are.
thing is like we've seen this with like pretty much all of the top North American teams at this point. So actually, at this point, we've seen this with all of the North American teams. And like the thing is that the way that the schedules are set up, it just seems that you play all the bad teams in a row, and then you play all the good teams in a row. And so each team has had their sort of like skid where they lost several games in a row because there's 6 teams in North America right now who are all very close. And so if you have a portion of your schedule where those 6, several of those 6 teams are grouped together and you go on a losing streak, then it's kind of unfortunate. And honestly, I think a lot of why C9's season ended up the way that it was is because if you look at the way that their schedule was set up, they played all of the good teams at the beginning of the split. But the thing was, at the time, we didn't know they were the good teams. It was teams like Gravity, teams like Dignitas, teams like Team Impulse, or
the middle of the
it
road
was like-
teams that really have been working to like.
yeah, it was like teams that we thought were like very mediocre. So then when we see C9 lose against Gravity and Dignitas back to back, we're like, wow, C9 looks like crap. And then C9 goes on tilt, and we all thought that if they didn't get off to a good start, they were going to be in trouble. I think if C9 plays like Team 8, TDK, Enemy, like the first 3 games, like this could be an entirely different split for
I don't know.
C9.
They look really bad, actually. They look really bad.
But I think a portion of that is them being like
I think-
losing all confidence.
Here's the
in
thing:
themselves.
they looked
They looked really bad.
looked bad, but I'm not sure if they would have been TDK bad.
I mean, they beat TSM first game of the season.
If they were against TDK week like 1, 2, and had a super easy schedule from there on out, I think Incarnation would have been acclimated to the environment a little more quickly. I also feel like they would not be what they are right now.
I mean,
They would not be as strong as they are
They
right
beat
now.
TSM the first game of the season. That team was not that bad, right? But then they played Gravity, and then they played Dignitas, and they lost, and all of a sudden everyone's like, damn, they suck. They lost to Gravity and Dignitas.
They did. I mean, if you go back to that TSM game, they did still kind of have a non-functional.
Well, it's difficult to figure out exactly how to judge them in retrospect like this. But
I'm just saying.
you mentioned Gravity and Dignitas, Stephen. Moving on now. You
Yes.
mentioned Gravity and Dignitas. They play the game. And Dignitas won, which is surprising because Gravity is number 1 in the NALCS. And
It is.
Dignitas is, you mentioned skidding, kind of impermanent. Like it's their thing now. It's just a skid and to lose and be bad in general.
It's a new fad.
Display. Yeah. Now we have
I don't think it's new.
Dignitas upsetting
It's very old fad.
upsetting Gravity. Does this say more about Gravity's potential potholes in their struggles, and they might slip up in the playoffs, or does it say
Yes.
more about Dignitas perhaps making a run to
That
playoff form?
No.
was the sloppiest game of League I have ever seen Dignitas play. I would not call it Dignitas's win. I would call it Gravity's complete and utter loss.
I think it was a game that went on for 56 minutes that you could win off of like one team
They
fight.
dropped everything, and Dignitas dropped everything back, and they ignored the central tenet. They went for Baron twice, and both times, terrible
Can we
things
talk about
happened.
Move's week? By the way,
Poison Baron.
Move stole.
Baron's always on the enemy
Move
team.
stole 2 fifth drags
That
and
was-
2
it
Barons
was-
this week.
And the worst
2
part
fifth
was
drags and 2 Barons.
the worst part was through most of that until the second fifth drag was pretty impressive, but the first time it just felt that's exactly what I expected because Dignitas got this lead. They were they had a pentakill on Shifter. They had probably the best team fight in the
we had
Dragon.
that clip.
Do we
Yeah,
have
that
that
was.
clip?
We better have that clip.
have
That
that
was
clip?
the best thing I've seen in a while.
Wow.
Yes, we do.
The 5
Yeah, so I want to say that this game was Gravity losing and
Okay,
not Dignitas
Shifter
winning.
made this entire team fight. Because
yeah, but this was actually a really good play
Yeah,
by
Shifter
Dignitas.
called
Absolutely.
off the jungler, so they couldn't do anything.
and
then Gamsu
a great
happened.
ult by Gamsu.
And then Shifter just comes
And
in
Shifter
and picks
just,
up the pieces.
Oh god, just lines him
The
up.
theme of this week is that Ari wins games.
You know what that reminds me of? It's like if he was at the bowling alley, and then if instead of setting him up like a cone, if you just put all of them in a straight line, and then you just like rolled it down the middle and just like.
Well, Nar's animation even looks like he's rolling a bowling
Well,
ball.
and Ari
you
looks
know?
like she's rolling a bowling
It's a
ball.
pentakill,
Right?
by the way.
You mean the
Pentakill,
cube?
like 14 minutes something.
Yeah. It's not
Yeah,
bad.
and that's the kind of thing that will completely crush a team. And you can just basically Shifter's 7-0 at that point. You can do whatever you want. Shifter should have like gone mid lane and taken on
By Midjoy Soul Stealer.
yeah, go back, take the TDK strap. Honestly, that's your chance. And they sat around. They did nothing. There weren't objectives. There weren't kills. Gravity, got caught out in multiple positions. And Dignitas was like, "We'll let him go. Like, we're not going to punish that. We're not going to try and go after that right now. Let's worry about keeping our farm up." Which, Gravity almost got that back into play. Like, they almost got the gold lead. It was the weirdest thing.
Yeah,
And
it
then,
was strange.
So Dig's still sloppy. Hard to believe in them. But what about
Gravity's
Gravity?
sloppy.
Gravity now still number 1 in the LCS North America. In the playoffs, they're going to have there's no easy first round matchup because they're going to get a bye the second round almost certainly. So, do they have a shot?
Wait.
I hope that was.
Wait, hold on. Wait, Gravity will not almost certainly get a bye. Gravity plays Team Impulse this week, and the winner of that is gonna get a bye, almost certainly.
2 teams get a bye.
Yeah, and CLG is the other one. Because
Yeah.
CLG right now is like 1 game behind Gravity, but they play Team A and TDK
So it's
this
Liquid.
week.
So Gravity would have to go 0-2 and have either Team Impulse, Team Liquid, 2 of CLG, Impulse, and Liquid go 2-0.
Alternatively, they could lose to Team Impulse and then lose in a tiebreaker with CLG.
Yeah. Okay, so I absolutely should never ever do this, but I'm writing off CLG's 2 games this week as victories because they play Team A and TDK.
Good luck with that.
Well, they're great. Their last game against
I look
TDK
forward to
were
Team
amazing.
8 beating CLG and then
Oh.
them throwing a TDK game.
Yeah, whatever. But assuming that happens,
Uh-huh.
which, like I said, you should never assume, but
Assume
I'm
it.
going to. Basically, Impulse is going to play Gravity, and the winner of that is going to get a bye. If Impulse wins, then Gravity and CLG will play a tiebreaker, I do believe.
I think it's cute that you assume CLG winning up against Team 8. It's cute.
Yeah,
That's nice. That's nice of you.
I just try to just not worry
A
about
nice,
it.
a nice olive branch you've extended.
Steven's
to
cognitive
CLG.
dissonance kicking in. Just
Yes.
Yeah. CLG's
Yes,
got
yes,
this.
got
yeah.
it. No problem.
Absolutely.
They'll
Not
be- they'll be
biased
teammates.
at
So,
all.
Yeah.
so my question to all of you is, if you were a team in the North American playoffs, what is the path that you would like to take to the finals? To what teams do you want to play right now?
CLG
Really?
in the playoffs.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
BM.
In the playoffs. I wanna
Assuming-
play
My number 1 on my hit list is Dignitas.
Yeah, assuming Dig makes
Okay,
it in, I would want to go through that.
They don't count.
They don't count.
Dignitas doesn't count.
Well, I want to go through Dignitas in the non-buy round, and then for the buy round, we're talking about what's Well, depending on who gets.
Forget buys, forget seeding, whatever. What's your hit list? You got to beat 3 teams to go to the NA finals.
Okay, well,
what are the 3 teams you want
Just
to
think of
beat?
the worst 3 teams in the playoffs. It'd be
Depending on whether or not.
I don't know who the worst 3 teams in the playoffs are right now.
Depending on
I have
whether or
no
not
clue.
Gravity goes on tilt after this loss, or like whether or not they'll be affected by it, I would like put them because like
Yeah, me
honestly,
too.
when
Me
you
too.
think about it, TSM when the playoffs comes around will presumably raise their level of play. When we're talking about CLG, they're gonna choke. So it's possible, it's very probable that they're not gonna make it through.
Damn.
Team Liquid.
Okay. No, so
Team
give me a
Liquid-
ranking. Give me a ranking here.
That's the thing, though, is that they're different. They're good in different situations. Like if you put CLG up against, it depends on what team I am. Because if you put CLG up against, say, like TSM, yeah, okay, there's going to be an ending to that. That's not happy. Same with Team Liquid. But when we're talking
happy
about
for
like
TSM
we're talking about
maybe.
versus like TIP, I would honestly favor CLG in that matchup. And then when we're talking about like Dignitas, yeah, well, they're kind of they're the only pushover really here that I would say loses to most.
hard
of the
to
other
say. We'll
teams.
find out this week actually what the play match is going to be.
I hope Dignitas
Who's
wins
gonna
and proves me
play?
wrong. But
Who's going to play who? We're going to find out in a matter of days. By the way, Fnatic, 16 games won, 0 games lost. It's time.
The dream.
It's time. The
Is
dream's
that
here.
even like noteworthy anymore? Like,
Does anyone actually?
I'm
Is
just,
there
I'm just saying, like
anything-
they have 2 games now. SK Gaming and Unicorns. If they win those 2 games, they are perfect.
the
for
two
split.
most like wild wildly fluctuating teams in the EU LCS
Especially
versus a
Unicorns.
team that has not lost yet.
I really
Unicorns-
don't think they have anything to worry about. They're
Unicorns.
going
okay,
16
I would
for a
never
reason.
ever take that approach against
I-
Unicorns. That's
you-
a bad approach. Against
Yeah,
Unicorns
you
of
should
love.
never say it's 16-0.
Don't-
We're fine.
Don't pop
Yes.
the champagne at 17-0.
And even
Fnatic.
SK.
We're
like-
playing Unicorns. Oh no! What could possibly go
Or-
wrong?
I mean, like, if there's anything you can expect when you're playing unicorns, is that the predictable outcome will happen, right? I mean,
And like
Exactly.
even
Yes.
even SK, like they're the type of people who will bop you if you are not prepared against Svenskeren. Like
Barbarino Al Pacino.
I don't know what that means, but they will definitely they will run a train on you if you're not willing to play against their style.
SK Gaming also 9th place. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, well, no, that's the thing is that they lose everything, and then suddenly, they
So what
won.
makes you think this is going to be different?
They won this game because that's the way SK has always operated.
Except it's not if they're in 9th.
I mean, SK
they can't
is like
always operate that
okay,
way,
okay,
yeah.
but SK's in 9th place, but they're also like 2 games out of 4th or some stupid crap like that
Yeah.
because of EU.
EU LCS is such like. It's such
EU
like,
LCS is the
rankings
opposite.
are so irrelevant
It's like-
at this
it-
point
it's
that
like
it's
the-
not even funny.
It's like almost literally the inverse of North American LCS.
It might as well be Fnatic and everyone else because like when you think about the
Is
like
it not?
it's not because you saying like oh SK's
No, no, no,
not.
I think it's like tiers. Okay, so it's like Fnatic, and it's like Origin, HGK, and then it's like everybody else, and then Copenhagen.
I think it's tears like
Right.
Origin crying when they lose the
Yeah,
game.
Copenhagen Wolves, known for always losing, never winning a game.
By the way, Wolves beating H2K.
beating H2K.
on Friday.
Oh,
forgot
boy.
about that.
What happened there?
14-0, Caitlyn let Freeze out of the prison.
Yeah, Freeze just put the team on the back though.
Yeah, not a good look for H2K. This team was once considered the challenger to Fnatic in Europe, and now they're losing to Copenhagen Wolves coming into the playoffs.
This was Monte Cristo's dandy.
I like how Copenhagen
yeah.
Wolves currently having like some of the largest management issues just showing up and then like, oh, by the way, we beat the second best team.
Can
in the
I say something
They're
about
not now, though. Origin
about-
now is second best.
about
Oh, that's true.
LCS
Origin
though?
lapped them recently.
I
It
think-
depends. How concise is it?
I think the auto relegation system sucks.
Too bad. I like it.
I
Moving on.
disagree.
I think it's exciting.
It's cool.
It's cool. I like it a lot.
What?
Steven's wrong. So H2K Origin this coming weekend, on Thursday actually, H2K Origin. This will happen before we next speak on Thursday evening. H2K Origin. H2K just lost to Copenhagen Wolves. Probably the worst loss of their split. Oh, the worst loss of their split. Forget probably.
Worse than Dignitas versus TDK.
Origin just lost to Gambit Gaming. Not quite as bad as the Wolves loss, but still Origin trying to be the number 2 team in Europe and then losing to Gambit. Not a great look for them as they try to solidify their place. They now play each other. Big game, obviously. H2K can still come back and pass up Origin for the bye. This is pretty much the game for the second bye
Yep.
behind Fnatic. So who wins and why is the question.
I think H2K's playstyle does very well against Origin's playstyle.
In what sense?
So theoretically, I'm going to put it on them because H2K plays like controlled, objective, safe. Like that's the 3 buzzwords that like I would use to describe them. When I talk about Origin, it's like Xpeke, like random teleport ganks, and then like
3 words to
Like,
describe Origin.
3 words to
Expecke,
describe-
expecke.
3 words to describe Origin is like Xpeke, like 4v0s and teleport ganks. Those aren't words, but like I'm going to use them anyway.
Phrases.
Phrases,
perhaps.
yeah. So
Right.
like I like
Saving your
I
phrases.
favor H2K's style because it's not the kind of style that like it's not the kind of style that falls for a lot of the tricks that like Origin's likely to pull out.
3 words. Expecke, 4v0, and teleport gang. That's like 10 words. Like that's not even close, man.
It's
not-
4
it's
if you
not
count
10.
4v0 as like having dots instead of
You
spaces.
said 3 actually, not
Dashes.
4.
We're just gonna.
Oh, whatever. It's the same
Okay.
thing,
Hyphenate
really.
Okay,
everything.
good. Yeah, well said. Well spoken.
Well,
Keith.
sometimes the jungler's there, sometimes he's not. So,
what-
it's 3v0,
Steven,
4v0.
make the case
same
for
thing.
Origin.
H2K's weakness is they can't deal with skilled mechanical laners.
Or Caitlyn.
Or Caitlyn, yeah. They can't deal with people who can bop them in lane. Like I think Origin's gonna do. I think Origin gets out to an early lead. I think Origin gets first dragon because they're stronger, because they're winning lanes. And if you take away first drag from H2K, if you take away those first few towers, then it's very hard for them to come back.
I think that's honestly a fair point because it's true that like H2K has like if anyone's like good, H2K can't really deal with them. But at the same time, like they've been able
Terrible deficiency to have. if
Well,
you're
like-
good.
You're good.
It's no. It's
done.
it's
I'm outta
weirder.
here.
It's weirder than
Hey,
it
I mean,
sounds because they
it's
are
a-
able to suppress lanes, but they have difficulties against teams like Fnatic, who have like every lane is doing decently and every lane is potentially the threat that's going to win the game. What are you going to do? You're going to focus all your energy on suppressing mid lane? Well, guess what? Now Huni wins. Oh, okay, well fine then. We'll shut down.
wins.
We'll shut down Huni. No, you won't because then
Reckless,
Yellow Star, like
Reignover,
any potential
anyone.
person on Fnatic can carry.
Yeah.
And when you think about
That
like
rain over lane.
when
pretty
you think
tough.
about Origin, I think that there's like it's concise
Bops
enough
that red
that
buff.
if they focus correctly and pay attention and don't make any huge mistakes like they did versus Copenhagen Wolves, they can really easily just suppress Origin and make it a really boring game that they eventually win out.
That's the ideal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Making a boring
Boring
game
games.
you win. Yeah.
H2K plays League of Legends.
Monte Cristo's favorite.
Yes. the Monte
H2K
Cristo
plays
special.
League of Legends in a way that would make Monte Cristo cry.
Suppression,
in
boredom, and victory.
Pure joy.
Those are the 3 words you should have gone with, actually. Suppression, boredom, victory for H2K.
I thought you were describing Elena. My bad.
No, I was not. Quick predictions now. Quick
I thought you were
ones.
describing
Very
Hungry
fast
Bucks.
ones for Thursday. Unicorns versus Giants. Very quick predictions.
Oh, unicorns.
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 Of love. I did predict unicorns to be my 3rd world team. I'm still feeling good about it, actually. You can never, like, it changes week to week. It does change week to week. It's hard to know what's going to happen with unicorns.
Junglers of love.
By the way, I think everyone took H2K as the definite second team from the region. Does everyone still feel confident about that?
I think so. I think that like if they're not second, then that's gonna mean something about them as a whole.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, I took them as that because I thought they had good point situation.
3rd place, not even 2nd place points, remember?
Yeah, but
That's unicorns.
because Origin
unicorns,
has a
I don't
long,
know.
long hill to climb considering
Yeah.
they weren't in the split.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Pretty much win the qualification tournament.
Yeah.
Or win the playoffs, you know.
Like H2K, especially when you consider the rest of the EU teams right now, like there's not a whole lot of things that can really stop them, except for apparently Copenhagen Wolves, which aren't going to be in playoffs.
And
So
Caitlyn.
Caitlyn.
they're set.
That Caitlyn counter pick, I think works really well. Okay, we're going to end the show with this. The show ender here. A team that will make the playoffs, or could make the playoffs, and is not playing very well, that will turn it on and surprise people when they do make the playoffs. It's your bold prediction. Steve, we start with you.
Gambit Gaming. They got all the tools to succeed. They just need to put them together.
They did just beat Origin, actually.
That's my pick.
I was going to go Gambit, so now I feel.
Wrecked or wrecked?
Yeah.
maybe.
I have
Wait.
a.
Are we doing EU? Because I was going to
It's
say
either
Dig.
region.
Well, it's,
Whatever.
it's
Okay.
either LCS. Why don't you go, Bianca?
Okay, well, I
Steven
was just
took
going to
mine.
say Dig. I have to.
Aren't
Right.
they currently lined up for playoffs though?
They are. No, I said, yeah, they can make the playoffs.
Who's gonna make a run in playoffs?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a team,
Yeah.
a team that's
Better.
like dark horse
Okay,
contender
yeah, I
in
got you, I
playoffs.
got
And
you.
it's going to like.
I think that
do
Well,
awesome.
they beat Gravity
potentially,
once, I guess. So there's that.
potentially, if
They beat the number 1 team in NA right now.
Right,
Yeah.
sure, exactly.
Just got to keep it up. It was a
Definitely.
really
I feel like
great
potentially,
threshold on
if
Al's part.
unicorns turn it on, they could like really easily sweep their way because at any point they're one of those teams that's like they're doing poorly right now. Sure, like they're doing decent, maybe not anymore. I wouldn't use the word poorly, but decently. That's not enough to win playoffs. But at any point in time, they could hit that button in the back of their head that's like, hey, Gilius is back. Let's old times, and then do stupid things and
But
win.
that's
I actually
not as
want to
crazy.
change my pick. I pick C9 in the North American Gauntlet.
Oh my
That's
god!
my pick.
Oh my god!
C9 in the Gauntlet to Worlds. C9's going to Worlds. You heard it here first.
That's not playoffs. Though.
How? They
It's
can't
not
go to
playoffs.
They can.
They can
Not
call. They can go to the
Well,
They're
there's
gonna
a-
go to the Gauntlet.
They go to the gauntlet.
They're
qualification.
gonna run the
God.
Gauntlet.
Yeah.
No, but we were talking about playoffs. Like,
Talking
they
about
can't
playoffs.
even do
Well,
that,
I know.
can they?
That's why I
So
said
you can't change
they're
your pick.
fighting for
You're making an
seventh.
additional pick, Steven. You're making a bonus pick. is what you're
C9
doing.
TSM CLG Worlds. Let's do it.
Oh, wow, that's something new.
Also unicorns as well. Just because I've been on unicorns train since the beginning of the split, so I may as well stay on it.
Yeah, you're pretty committed.
The train has like gone off
You're
the rails.
consistent to the
Yeah,
unicorn
the
type
train
train,
has
at
is just
least.
swerving on and off the road. I'm just like, fuck it,
But
you know,
that's how
I'm good.
unicorns play.
I'll just stay on. I don't even care where it goes.
That's like pretty
Just
much
fly
how to
away with the
describe
pretty little
unicorns.
The
of
unicorns.
Worlds.
train actually crashed, then flipped back over and got back on a different rail and kept going. And I'm aboard still. I don't care. I'm good.
You're here for the ride, you know?
Yeah, I took it for the ride.
That's like
Ride
what
the
you just.
unicorn to Worlds.
That's just the ride you signed up
Yes.
for when
I
you
knew what I
decided
was-
to root for unicorns
Yeah,
of love.
I knew what I was getting into when I picked unicorns as my third team to go to Worlds. So I'm prepared for this. I'm good. No
See, I
problem.
don't have enough team loyalty. See, I wish I was like you, but I'm a dirty bandwagoner.
I have pick
so-
loyalty, not team loyalty. I have
That's
pick
true.
loyalty.
Well,
I
you-
believe myself.
Yeah, you don't have team loyalty because all the teams you pick suck.
Oh, it
That
hurts, but it's true.
Cloud9 title.
Cloud9 SK.
No, I said Giants, not SK. They suck too.
You said SK at the beginning.
No, I hope I didn't.
Okay, come on, pick again. Pick again. You can do it.
Yeah, you gotta make a pick
What?
now.
You gotta make a
Dark
pick.
Horse playoffs.
I
said
did. I
unicorns.
already said
But
unicorn.
unicorns.
Oh.
Oh right, you did. Yeah.
Stole Jared's answer.
Jared
Well, that's,
stole
that's
mine.
the show. It might have been on your answer for the past split. So don't tell me that.
Come on.
That's the show for today. If you liked it, please follow the channel. I insist by all means. If you missed part of the show, all VODs go on YouTube at daily.esports, as do the show with Richard. If you missed part of that, check it out
And
there.
the quick cast.
Twitter, Facebook.esports. How fabulous is that? We have interviews from Evo, fresh off the press and South by Southwest, actually, as a
Yeah.
matter of fact, on the YouTube channel. Again, daily.esports. So look there. Back on Thursday with the same of this, more Richard and more of this League of Legends crew. Back tomorrow, Tuesday, with fighting game talk after Evo completes. And back Wednesday with some interviews with esports personalities. Check us out every single day of the week, except for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on Twitch. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.